Who will be under the microscope more this season? Is it going to be Dak Prescott or is it going to be Mike McCarthy? Canty, what do you think?
It's going to be Mike McCarthy. Think about how the way things ended in Green Bay with him and not getting along with Aaron Rodgers and that relationship running its course. And then you think about what it's been since he's been in Dallas. He's going to be the one that's under the most scrutiny because last year they had the most penalized team. And then think about the clock management, end of game situations. I go back to the end of the regular season against the Arizona Cardinals, and then obviously the wild card game against the San Francisco 49ers. All of those are reflections of the head coach. And quite frankly, Mike McCarthy has not done the job with the talent that's on that roster. So I think he's going to be the one that comes under the most scrutiny if things don't go Jerry's way in Dallas this season.
Not to mention he hired his buddy at defensive coordinator a few seasons ago, and we saw how that went until Dan Quinn came in there and saved the day. So add that on with all those other things that reflect decision-making and coaching and leadership or lack thereof. And then look at what Dak Prescott's done at the quarterback position. I mean, the guy should have been comeback player of the year a season ago with what he did. He shined. You talked about he always says the right things. He's been a leader during turbulent times there. So there's no questions of who Dak Prescott is. None with the Cowboys. He's just fine.
This is real
There's
cute.
no questions about Dak Prescott. He's just fine.
It's real cute. I like this. When you guys are giving the right answer, who should be under the most scrutiny, not who will be under the most scrutiny. Right now.
Well, one loses their job if this goes wrong.
That's the point. There you go.
Right now, we are in August, and in August, people are level-headed, and they make rational and reasonable things. You know what happens when teams play poorly. They blame the quarterback. You saw it last year. Dak got a bunch of criticism. He's always going to get that criticism, in part because of his contract. And I am not someone who agrees with anybody counting people's money. My belief is Dak earned his money, and it is now the front office's job to find a way to get talent around him. But that's not how it's going to be interpreted. If they fall short, people are going to say they don't have the offensive linemen that they had before because Dak's contract's too big. They don't have the receivers that they needed because Dak's contract is too big. That's what's going to be said. They're going to throw that in their face unless they lose like 3 games because of clock management issues, in which case then we'll go to Mike McCarthy, which I think is much less likely than them, what's more likely to happen is they're going to fall short because their team is not good enough. And they're not even going to be in those late game situations to blame Mike McCarthy. And when it comes down to it, people are going to look at that salary cap and say Dak Prescott cost them the talent that they need. They're going to be dead wrong, but that's what they're going to say.
But hold on. Dak Prescott ain't the contract that cost him all of that talent. The contract that cost him all of that talent is Ezekiel Elliott getting $90 million, and that was a Jerry Jones call, which is an albatross. But think about this. Guys, when Aaron Rodgers ditched Mike McCarthy, you're talking about him winning, 39 regular season games over the past 3 years and having back-to-back MVPs? That's what we're talking about. There is a question about who Mike McCarthy is as a head coach now. Not the guy 10 years ago that won the Super Bowl. Who is he as a head coach right now?
But it
doesn't feel like he's a head coach that's going to allow your team to do high-level winning, and I think that will be more of the narrative in Dallas if things don't go the way that they envision.
In Mike McCarthy's defense, he did win a Super Bowl. That's pretty high-level winning. But aside from that,
in 2010, what year is it again?
I'm not interested in defending Mike McCarthy.
Because it sounds like you are.
I just thought that anybody who was watching this heard you say that he can't do high-level winning. He could come in here and throw his ring on the table and be like, that looked pretty high-level to me. I just thought that it was a reasonable thing to bring up.
I won a ring more recently than Mike McCarthy. Well, then why at the table talking to you? Come on, man.
Why don't you coach the Cowboys then?
Listen, it can't be no worse than what we saw in the wild card round. I promise you that.
I'm with you. I'll be your defensive coordinator.
They'd be the same. Neither of them have a clock on their wrist.
I'll be happy to be the defensive coordinator if I only got to come to work like twice a week. We good. We can
work that out. Remote with all the remote technology.
The reason why I think Mike McCarthy, I think he does deserve the scrutiny, which is what makes this argument that we're having a little odd, because I agree with all your points, but I don't think it'll land on him, because what are we going to scrutinize him for? Because the offense isn't playing well? He don't manage that. Because the special teams is bad? He not coordinating that because the defense falls short? That ain't his job either. So, it comes down to one or two things. Penalties
and clock management.
And
he's awful at both of them.
Agreed. It's for the scrutiny to fall on him. That's going to have to be the reason why they fail this season. And I don't think that's going to be the reason why they fail this season. Right. They aren't good enough is the reason why they failed.
It was a part of the reason why they lost against the 49ers.
He doesn't have a long list of responsibilities. I'm not taking away from being a head coach, but as you just alluded to, those two things were in the gutter. But then what did they do? In the draft this year, they went out and drafted a player who's bad with penalties. So they're adding on to the list of issues this upcoming season.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.